It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks so much for being here this morning. All right, Iran. You look at yesterday, for example, the president posted on Truth Social, Iranian patriots keep protesting, take over your institutions, save the names of the killers and abusers. They will pay a big price. I have canceled all meetings with Iranian officials until the senseless killings of protesters stop. Help is on the way. MIGA.
Make Iran great again.
Make Iran great again.
Mm-hmm.
President Donald Trump.
All right.
It's interesting. I'm reading here from National Review. When the president of the United States says they will pay a big price and help is in the way, people are understandably curious about what forms that big price and help will take. A new tariff on countries that do business with Iran is not probably what they had in mind.
Well, the president's already the president of the United States and Venezuela, so he doesn't have also the room to be the president of Iran.
But Reuters had the story yesterday. 2 European officials said U.S. military intervention appeared likely, with one saying it could come in the next 24 hours. An Israeli official also said it appeared Trump had taken a decision to intervene, though the scope and timing had not yet to be made clear. We know that the airspace was closed. Now it's back open again in Iran. You and I talking about all the stuff we heard yesterday, all the stuff flying around. It's like, okay, man, there's got to be a ton of false flags in here.
But, you know, it's an interesting situation because there was word that the Ayatollah would like to escape, and part of his, I guess, backup plan B or whatever, was to take his family to Russia, go with his family to Russia, and he would live in exile there if things were to implode. You see what's going on basically on the streets in Iran, and they're killing protesters, non-protesters. They just seem to be killing people now in the thousands, the reports are, and that cannot continue. But if you're the United States here or Israel, what do? You go capture the Ayatollah, and then what? I mean, the ultimate situation would be to convince the supreme leader it's not in his best interest to stay and for him to flee and live in exile wherever it's going to be. Azerbaijan, Russia, the Shahdag Mountains in northern Azerbaijan, which is right at the border with Russia, are beautiful. You could go live there. The ultimate would be to, of course, not have to send troops in, not have to send air power in. Are you going to go in and would you strike Tehran? I don't even know if the Ayatollah's still in Tehran.
Well, here's one thing that the National Review, and this is the article I was reading that they brought up. It was Jim Garrity's column. It said, "Watch the skies over to Tehran," and he talked about the locations that if he knows it, the American military knows it.
Sure,
all the security that they're using is based somewhere. All the security that they're using to go after, they go back somewhere. They go back to their quarters. The Central Security Headquarters acts as the Iranian Guard's elite domestic security demand. The 27th Mohammed Division, a mechanized and urban combat division formed during the war, now specializes in riot control, rapid deployment inside Greater Tehran, and crowd suppression. The 20th Ramazan Armored Brigade in South Tehran, an armored brigade with T-72 tanks and BMPs for deterrent power, located at the capital's southern perimeter. The 27th Division is based near Pastaran Avenue and has long been tied to the garrison in north-central Tehran. If I were an Iranian in Tehran, I would stay away from those places. saying what you do is you go in and you target, because we have been so precise. You target the infrastructure of the security, because are you going to go after and kill the Ayatollah, or do you destroy the infrastructure of the security apparatus, have the covert Israelis in there going after other specified targets, inside those brigades, kill those leaders?
Yeah. Well,
and
because
it's
the opposite of cutting off the head of the snake, because if the head of the snake has no firepower, has no enforcement power, then it is over.
Because the entire thing is, because if you can, and I guarantee, not that you can always read this president's mind, but I think one thing that we have complimented him on is his consistency.
Yeah,
when it comes to foreign policy, he would rather make a deal and get them out of there peacefully.
Yes.
And there's just stories out there that, the Ayatollah and the mullahs are transferring, gold and wealth elsewhere, around the world. Who knows what's true and what's not true in all these things. You saw the thing about that. I saw one report that Kurdish troops, a report that they may be crossing the border from Iraq to help fight against the Ayatollah. There's just so much out there. I read everything yesterday, and I said, I just don't know I don't know what to believe, because, we remember last time what happened. Everybody's like, oh, whoa, we went in.
Well, because I think part of the, if you look at this, how their bank, their large bank, basically was $5 billion in debt. The Wall Street Journal a couple of days ago had a story on the collapse of it. They were able to print money and cover up this, this debt essentially, and fold it into another bank. And the point being is that if the idea is, because as I apply this to what you just said, are they collecting gold? Have they been sitting on wealth? Are they collecting wealth for themselves in order, the supreme leader and other leaders, to survive in exile? If you're the United States, that's not a concern for you at all. You're okay with them. Hey, you got a pile of gold. You want to go live in Siberia? Go. You don't ever pop your head up again, because we're going to watch you. We're going to know where you are 24/7. But if we don't have to use force to get you out, and you want to take your gold and run, go.
The amazing thing is, thought about this driving in, and I just wanted to see where it was right now. Oil 60.04, down $1.99.
Yeah,
down 3.21%.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what would happen to oil if this was happening back in the 1980s?
Yeah, even Brent, which is the crude that they produce in that region, is down $2 and over $2. Back when Ahmadinejad was president, he would speak, he would talk, and he would, death to America. And then, boom, the oil markets just went crazy.
Yeah.
Just went crazy.
See what happens when the United States says, okay, let's go after as much as possible.
Right. Exactly.
And that, to me, and I know if you're younger and you may not remember the oil crisis of the 70s and all that, the Middle East, but if this, happened back, gas just, oil would skyrocket. Think about it. It's like, not really much is happening. Oh, you know what I thought was the first false flag yesterday? Or was it yesterday or the day before? I can't remember. When Saudi Arabia said, we're not going to allow the United States to use our airspace. And we're so public about it. And I went, whoa.
Yeah.
They said the same thing during Israel, but they believe they did.
Right. Yeah.
That they're saying one thing and doing another.
Yeah. Yeah. That wouldn't shock me at all.
Right.
The president mentioning yesterday that the killing, the executions have stopped in Iran and the whole thing.
He said he got that from the he clarified that said he got it from the opposition
Right.
leaders who
Now,
said that.
Now, here's the question. Is that part of, again, the negotiation? Because I do believe the ultimate scenario is the Ayatollah lives in exile and is gone, and we know where he is at all times, and that regime is never to come back.
Well, and there may be pressure to get everybody surrounding him, a ton of the mullahs out there, because if there was a peaceful transfer of power, which means there wasn't a revolution that was targeting the Ayatollah, and he gets out, and his entire staff around him gets out, because a lot of people want to get out, because even if it's peaceful, there's going to be a lot of vigilantism going on here.
Yeah.
For all the suffering that these people have seen and the opposition have seen.
Right.
There's going to be so what is that part of the negotiation? There's 10,000 people that we need to get out. There's 1,000 people we need to get out.
If that's the case, that's a ton of essentially refugees to take in for any country, and how do you accommodate that if that is the case? I don't. If you're a country
they
like
could call
Russia,
they call Minnesota.
Yeah,
That's what,
they're taking in people.
But those are the things that I look, because I know the president. He doesn't. There's no way he wants to put. There's no way. One thing I am sure of, unless it's special forces or air power, he doesn't want boots on the ground.
No, I don't.
He has said it. Yeah. I believe that would be the last thing of any president that has been around since I've been covering politics. I think he is the one president that wants to use the projection of American power, but not put boots on the ground until you absolutely have to. And he believes, justifiably so, because when you're willing to go after, and I'm not saying he won't go after the Ayatollah, he might do it. He did it with Soleimani,
right? Yeah,
and so he could, because if you did that, that's if. And you and I've asking the question. That's if the Ayatollah is still in Iran.
Yeah,
there's so many things here, but if he wasn't for a couple of days, we would know it. We would know it at this point, because it would be.
Yeah, we know that Intel knows.
The CIA knows.
Yeah, we know that Intel knows. We know that Israeli Intel knows.
Right.
And also, I guess you could make the argument that the Ayatollah believes that if he's in the center of Iran, it's a highly populated area, and he's somewhere in the center of Iran, that they wouldn't strike that center and have such large civilian casualties. That you don't answer the slaughter of their citizens with an attack that, of course, takes out a ton of civilians itself. That wouldn't work. So it's quite possible he's hiding in plain sight, so to speak, and in the center of Tehran somewhere. But there has to be movement here, and there isn't going. I don't. Again, we tried to hash this out yesterday. There is no get for the United States from Iran, and there is nothing we can offer them in order to do this. Because this article from the Wall Street Journal the other day, the obscure bank collapse that sent Iran into a tailspin. It was basically that this isn't an uprising, a generational uprising, as much as it is an economic collapse.
Oh, yeah. We've talked about that.
We knew this was coming, because when you put the sanctions on them, this is what the pressure you're trying to put on them, and this is what it gets to. And they talk specifically about the one large bank collapse and everything else. But when you look at that situation, then, all right, so you go to the table with with the supreme leaders, with the leaders of Iran. Well, what are you going to offer? They're going to want to be back in the oil game in order to bring about economic stability. You can't allow that to happen. Well, it's the whole point of the sanctions to begin with, and that's a hard no.
I saw one today. If the Ayatollah survives this, if the regime survives this, nothing will take them down.
Yeah, no. If they remain in power,
if they
remain in power through this,
right,
then in our generation we won't see them go. Yeah,
you cannot negotiate with the Ayatollah, and I don't believe Trump will.
Right.
On we'll relieve the sanctions if you promise to be a better Ayatollah.
Yeah.
If you're a kinder and gentler Ayatollah, then we'll let you open up the spigots again and sell it.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening.
Or as George W. Bush called it, compassionate Ayatollahism. You
all
can't.
All right, I didn't expect that one. I didn't expect that one.
It's so. I mean, I don't know where other than you've got a chance to get out with your life and whatever wealth you have in your hands and your family, or not. But then the dare is, and the supreme leader knows this. What, you're going to come into Iran? What are you going to do? And it would have to be precise, as you mentioned, targeting bases, maybe not targeting where the Ayatollah is at all.
Yeah.
But targeting their forces and their ability in those forces, then, again, morale, and then
targeting the security forces.
Yep.
And where they are located, where their bases are, their equipment and everything else.
Right.
And to encourage, at that point, more of a revolution.
Yeah, now you have no protection.
Right. Yes.
Right.
We are Red Eye Radio.
Brought to you by FPPF, Fuel Power Max.
The IFTA tax program redistributes tax revenue to states based on your actual miles run. Thus, the truly cheapest fuel can only be found if you subtract federal and state taxes and state surcharges from the pump price to compare. The strategy means that you buy without regard for whether you are paying more at the pump in taxes. IFTA also considers state surcharges, which complicates the fuel buying strategy. Indiana, Kentucky, and Virginia have per gallon surcharges. Connecticut, Kentucky, New Mexico, New York, and Oregon have per mile surcharges. While some owner-operators buy only enough fuel to get through surcharge states, this practice can backfire, depending on the actual cost of the fuel in each state. When comparing fuel prices, always remember, pump pride minus taxes equals the real fuel cost. Owner-Operator Business 101 is provided by Overdrive's Partners in Business program. Go to overdriveonline.com to the Partners in Business section of the website for more detail on this and many other topics.
Brought to you by Shell Rotella. With advanced synthetic technology is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. More on the Iranian situation coming up following the bottom of the hour, because the one thing that I look at is something's going to happen here, because if nothing happens, the financial situation of Iran's not going to improve.
No, it isn't.
But if there is a regime change, hypothetically, if you got the Shah's son back in there, and he has said that would be a transition government to a democracy, everything changes in the Middle East.
Oh, my gosh.
Everything
It would be so huge.
Everything.
You mentioned this yesterday, but I don't think there's a way to measure how huge that would be long term if it were to go that direction.
Catch Red Eye Radio live every night on the Red Eye Radio app, available in the App Store. Red Radio.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks so much for being here. Big football weekend this weekend, and I was scanning the headlines of the Babylon Bee just because I hadn't done it in a couple of days, and I come upon the official Babylon Bee NFL playoff betting guide, and then I click onto it. What do I see? Don't gamble, you sinner.
Was that really it?
Yeah,
that's funny.
It. That's it.
That's hilarious.
The official Babylon Bee NFL playoff betting guide.
I love it.
Don't gamble, you sinner.
You sinner. I love that. Oh, my gosh, that's beautiful.
I know. I just couldn't believe it. It's like,
go to church.
That's really good. Don't gamble. Right.
Yeah.
Don't gamble. Don't gamble. Go to church.
Right, exactly.
You sinner.
You sinner. Because I wouldn't have put the two together. The Babylon Bee, religious-based, the comedy satire,
right?
And it's
perfect.
I would have clicked, and it would have had me rolling.
Oh,
that's
me
perfect.
rolling.
Yeah.
But the lead headline: 5-year-old brought in to explain the difference between boys and girls to the Supreme Court. And it's see this young kid with stick figures of a man and a woman.
Yeah, that's funny.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
But the other thing I wanted to bring up before we get just back to Iran here, just a few other stories this hour. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is facing formal impeachment proceedings after Republican lawmakers introduced 4 articles accusing him of corrupt conduct in office, centered on his alleged role in overseeing, enabling, or failing to act on extensive fraud in the statewide program. So different ones. Article 1, Walz is charged with knowingly permitting the concealment of widespread fraud within the Minnesota state administered programs, despite repeated warnings, audits, reports, and public indicators of systemic abuse. Article 2, Governor Walz violated his constitutional oath through actions and omissions that interfered with lawful oversight, investigations, or corrective measures related to fraud in state agencies. Article 3 charges Walz with placing political consideration above lawful administration, stating that he prioritized the preservation of political narratives over disclosing known program failures, failed to act to protect taxpayer funds once fraud became apparent, and allowed executive agencies to continue operations without proper safeguards. Article 4 accuses the governor of failing to uphold laws related to public fund stewardship. It charges him with allowing statutory safeguards to be ignored, failing to enforce anti-fraud measures, and permitting violations of the law despite being aware of wrongdoings. Now, do I believe that they should do this? Yes. Why? Because that's how you get the back and forth and more investigations from the state level. And the Republicans are looking to improve their setting in the legislature.
Right.
And so they're going to pound on this between now and election day because it keeps it in the news. And by the way, if we've heard, all these riots are happening to keep the fraud. You can't keep fraud like this out of the news.
No.
It's impossible.
Nope.
Can't keep it out of the news.
No, it's too big. Too many people know. It's a story. And, you pointed out when you talk about things that the American public does not like, one of the big ones is fraud.
Yeah.
It's one of those, I don't know, sexy stories. It's one of those that people go, oh, wait a minute. What happened here?
They don't like fraud. They don't like bribes.
Right.
And they don't like politicians not paying their taxes.
Right.
Unless it's a Democrat.
Then they're okay with it. Yeah. Yeah, speaking of, you said the mentioning football earlier, the word is John Harbaugh and the Giants are working to finalize an agreement. So he would be the Giants' new head coach. Again, the deal isn't done yet, but they say they're very close to a deal. Multiple sources tell ESPN. So Harbaugh's got a new job if that goes through. We'll see. Jerry Jones is still head coach of the Cowboys, by the way.
That's not,
and general manager.
That's not changing.
Yeah.
This is the story that I had about Iran here that I saw earlier. Armed Kurdish separatist groups tried to cross the border into Iran from Iraq in recent days, stoking fears that the country's spiraling unrest has attracted dangerous foreign militants who could destabilize the wider region, according to reports. Iranian officials said the attempted breach came amid a sweeping crackdown on nationwide protests against the country's regime. You know, whatever happens here, it's not going to get any better under Trump. And so you have 3 more years.
You mean their economic situation?
Their economic situation, and political is not going to get better because the political situation now is caused by the economic situation, as you mentioned before.
Right. Yeah,
and so it's coming from all sides, and depending on what the president does here, if there is regime change here, and like I said, you get the Shah's son back in there with the transition government to a democracy. Whether that can happen or not, whether it would explode, whether the different factions in Iran, and Iran's a little bit different than Iraq, but if there was unity to move the country in the right direction, and you could get regime change and move towards free elections, that changes completely the Middle East.
Well,
there's no barrier anymore to having everybody having Abraham Accords with Israel.
Because you look at that, it would be a monumental shift that is overall 75 years in the making. I mean, it's, if you want to encompass the entire story.
In modern history.
Certainly you could say in modern history.
Right.
But if you go back, I mean, when the Shah was ousted, all right, you could go back 40-something years. I'm bad at mathing right now.
47 years.
Yeah. Wow. Isn't that crazy?
I know.
Wow. My mom was in the hospital when the Shah of Iran was brought to the States, a military hospital. My mom happened to be in that same military hospital. We couldn't go see her at the time. We were restricted. There were no visitations it was a number of days. I don't remember. It seemed like forever, of course, as a little kid. But if you just want to encompass that, but I mean the entire relationship between the Middle East and Israel, if you were to, put all of this into perspective, and if it were to go a new direction, I don't know how to score that. I don't know how to score that in terms of monumental shift, because in that you have to include a number of things. Of course, all of the proxies for Iran, all of those that may not have been direct proxies for Iran, but were accomplishing the same things and favored Iran along the way. You look at global terrorism, not that it would be gone.
No,
because you're still going to have that. But what would change, and what would have to be, this would have to be part of this change if it were to occur. This is a huge if. It would be resetting the tone for, again, whether or not you're going to use proxies for your strong arm and to attack enemies such as Israel and everything else. If the direction is going to be greater relations in that region, again, there's no way to measure how big that would be.
You already had Saudi Arabia that's open to having a treaty with Israel, an Abraham Accord, deal. They already said that they're willing to look into that.
Right.
Well, if Iran is not Iran anymore,
Right.
if Iran is moving towards some form of democracy,
Right.
hypothetically, I know jumping the gun here, but I mean, this is the goal.
Yeah.
Then you have there's really nothing at that point to stop Saudi Arabia. If Saudi Arabia and the Crown Prince actually believe what he was saying 15 years ago,
Right.
which is they have to diversify away from oil. They don't control they still have influence, but they don't control it anymore. And the thought process inside of Saudi Arabia that they have to diversify their economy. And if they want to diversify their economy, that means they have to be more open to Western values. And that could be very, very important here to the United States. Since Europe is moving away from Western values, we can
Right.
move the Middle East more towards Western values.
Right.
I saw there was do you see that number? It popped into my head right now, where Great Britain has arrested like 12,000 people on free speech violations.
It doesn't
On
shock
speech,
me. I
not
didn't see
free
that
speech
number, but yeah.
on speech violations, it's
Right.
like
Yeah.
12,000.
Yeah, which is something else we talked about with this administration that was going on during his first year back, in the conversations with other allies, that we have sacrificed countless lives in the name of protecting free speech, and you're working in the opposite direction of that. And while you technically are our ally,
Yeah.
we do not share the same values there, and that's a problem. Free speech absolutely must be within every culture. I don't expect that if there is a shift in Iran, if there is a change in leadership, and if there is a change, a cultural shift in order to do business with the world, like the Saudis and the Crown Prince had talked about in Saudi, I don't expect that to happen overnight, and I don't expect them to turn into Los Angeles. I don't expect them
Hopefully
to be
not.
Yeah, exactly. Don't go too liberal.
Just having fun.
But it is knowing that, all right, if you're going to be doing commerce with the world, there are things that you're going to have to tolerate. And if you don't, and you're going to act out with force as a result of that, then there's going to be problems. And economically, that's where the greatest pressure comes in. This is the entire idea of the sanctions. Where we are right now in Iran was the entire idea. You don't get to play because you're not playing nice with the rest of the world. Not that we expect you to be the United States culturally, but there has to be a greater acceptance and handshake with the world and respect without the use of violence, even through proxies, especially through proxies, if this relationship economically is going to continue.
We are Red Eye Radio.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. You learn something new every day.
Yeah? What's that?
So I looked to see what the time in Tehran was.
Right.
Because if we attack, if attack happens, in all likelihood, you would assume it would happen at night.
Uh-huh.
Again, maybe it won't. You never know. But right now, it's 12:24 p.m. It's like, wait a minute. How come
All right.
they go in half-hour, their time zones will go in half-hour segments.
Right. Yeah. They
Yeah.
are. Yeah.
They do it. They do it to half.
They didn't want to cooperate with the Western world. Oh, yeah, we'll do half hour. What? Yeah.
So if you were going to do it at night, it would be, probably sometime, noon or after our time. So
Yeah.
during the day, that
Right,
we probably would attack. But again,
Yeah.
it's not.
Venezuela was what, like 2 a.m. local time?
Yeah,
Something
but
like that.
this isn't going to be the whole thing is this isn't going to be something like Iraq. We're not taking out the grid. We're not taking out, we're not taking out anything that would hurt the people if we did it.
Right.
This is the whole goal of this would be, and this is why everybody's wondering, okay, how precisely would you do this? The extraction of getting Maduro out was one thing.
Right.
But what do you do? What do you believe? What precision strikes would you do? Would you take out, as National Review was talking about, all the security headquarters that are oppressing the people right now? Would you take them out? Would you target the Ayatollah?
Right. If there's clearance at those headquarters that gives you enough to make sure that no civilians are going to be hurt through those strikes, that makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. Because that's his forces.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.